When your luck's out, it's out. WWE have not had a good year. No crowds, low viewership, NXT in the doldrums. Wrestlemania with crowds, with a big stadium. The rain hits. So what do we get when we start the broadcast for the first night of WrestleMania 37? People trooping back in with those waterproof ponchos. That is not the way that WWE wanted to start this thing. And this is not the way I wanted to start this thing. But it's a soft launch. This is Steve Swift's Rambling Reviews. You've heard him on podcast. If you haven't, get over there. You really should be. And this is my first attempt at YouTube. Note the stuff behind me. There's some wicker baskets and things there. That'll be changing. This is a first attempt. Really enjoying it. So, this podcast will be about wrestling and books and films and my thoughts and telly and music. Anything I want. Because I never stint myself. After all, I am trying to grow my nails. Anyway, back to WrestleMania. Got some handy notes here. So if you see my eyes wandering back and forth, you will know why. First up, you've got Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan, who in the past has told us, I can be racist up to a point. Well, that's all right then. And they're trying to get the hype up for us, but Titus is not happy with being rained on because he is wearing a very nice jacket and trouser combo. So he's not very happy with that, and it rather stymies what he can do. Up first, though, Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for that title. Well, it's all right. It's a heavyweight battle. Two beefy men bashing into each other. There are some good moves. You've got a Kimura on the top from McIntyre. Not quite sure why you'd do a Kimura on the top, but he does. There are 3 DDTs to Lashley. He kicks out, therefore showing just how resilient that big baby head is. And there's a very nice Northern Lights suplex from McIntyre, at which Cole shouts, "Amazing innovation!" Well, actually, I do think that the Northern Lights suplex was in existence before this match. Somebody maybe should tell the gentleman. In the end, though, McIntyre is saved because you get the full Lashley. Sorry, the Hurt Lock. Oh, yeah, full Lashley's not half as good, really, is it? Full Lashley, and down goes McIntyre bit by bit. He missed the Claymore before, you see, because MVP was on the apron, just shouted, "Oi! Oi! Your ass is hanging out! It's hanging out! Oh, sorry, I better pull my trunks up. Oh, I missed the Claymore." It's ridiculous, really, particularly on the biggest event of the year to do that, but there you go. So he goes out. Lashley wins, of course he does. He's only just been given the title. McIntyre is saved, although they've been messing around with him for so long. He could be an excellent tweener champion, but they've lost that opportunity now. And we move on to the tag team turmoil match, because this is something that was supposed to be something really special. And it wasn't. This WrestleMania only got going after the next match, and that was an hour and 3/4 into the 3 hours 37-minute event. More of that in a minute. First, the crowd are more or less silent for what is actually good meat and potatoes wrestling. First of all, you've got Lana and Naomi versus Billie Kay and Carmella. There's not much to tell here. Billie Kay and Carmella win. Then the Riot Squad are in. There's not much to tell here. There's a nice Brooke blockbuster. Oh, no, actually, first, you've got the Riot Squad pinning Billie Kay. So they move on. Then you've got Carmella and Mandy Rose. On the way down, it's a bit wet on the walkway. Mandy Rose, who's doing the swagger walk in, suddenly loses her footing, falls on her arse. That's not safe, WWE, and you really need a health and safety inspector to come in. No other tumbles, thank goodness, during this night, but who knows what will happen next night if it rains again. So, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, nice Dana Brooke blockbuster. Yeah, Riot waits for that though. She did wait to say, what are you going to do? Whatever it is, I'm here waiting for you. Yeah, the two teams did mesh here actually. Quite nice. It worked quite well. Crowd weren't really into it. It was a very nice Rose superplex and a swanton, then a reverse roll-up. The Riot Squad win, and it was announced that they didn't win. It was announced that Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke won. The commentators said, the Riot Squad win. And then they had to reverse it. Correction, it's the Riot Squad. Really, come on. It wasn't a bit you were doing. It wasn't an angle. That was really quite poor. This is the biggest event of the year. Get yourself together. So the Riot Squad now have to wait for the final team in, who are Natalya and Tamina. And actually, this worked all right, you know. I didn't expect Natalya and Tamina to do so well here. But they did. They even hit the heart attack, which was always very nice to see, you know. I'm a kid who watched in the late 80s, and I love that, so really nice to see it. There was a very nice ending where Natalya was going to put on the sharpshooter and then said to Tamina, no, you can finish this. Tamina looked a bit cheesed off, to be honest, as if to say, don't tell me what to do. Well, she's just inviting you to have the pin, so why don't you hit the Superfly smash, splash, smash, splash, smash, smash, splash, 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 which she did for the pin. Natalya and Tamina win and go on to face Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler tomorrow. They won. And nobody cared. Okay. Business is about to pick up because Cesaro, he was lost in the shuffle. And, you know, the thing is, Michael Cole is doing a kind of, he got to live up to his potential. Well, you know, he'd really like to if he wasn't constantly held down by the WWE. Perhaps. Allegedly. Okay, he shows how good he is here. He's fighting Seth Rollins. It's all about the swing. He goes for it several times early on. Rollins either gets to the ropes or tries to roll through. That's really nice and cagey. Really good. And there's also a really nice roll through superplex, from a superplex into a Falcon Arrow from Seth Rollins for a long two. Quite rightly, that's a super move. And, you know, Rollins can do all this. Really good behind the stick as well. And so is Cesaro, the Swiss cyborg. At one point, Seth Rollins shouts, I defied the swing. I am a god. Now that is really nicely done. However, after doing the backwards kick, you know, the bit where he runs, catches his foot, stops his momentum, kicks to the back of the head, that's a new move. He's using it all the time. Quite rightly so. Really good. After that, unfortunately, he gets an uppercut from Cesaro off a stomp attempt, and then the UFO when he puts him on his shoulders. No hands, ma'am. Look, no hands. And swings him round. And then 1, 2, 3, 23 swings. The crowd are really into this, and rightly so. And he gets the pin. He gets the pin. Fantastic. This is when it all picked up, and the commentary started to say, this is WrestleMania. Yeah, because you weren't sure earlier, were you? But now the crowd are into it. Quite rightly so. Cesaro picks up the win. Maybe this will be a massive push for... It won't, will it? No, he'll just go into mid-table, mid-mundanity again. He'll be mid-card again. If he gets on any pay-per-views. I could be wrong, and I really hope. But just one word for you, Ricochet. Moving on. And this was really good as well. First of all, Big E is out. He's wrestling tomorrow. because of course he's a champ, but he's just shouting, "Don't you dare be sour!" You've got to be careful, because he'll lose that. He'll get nodules, and that's no good, is it? Anyway, Kofi, nice do. I don't watch WWE that much. So just to tell you, I watch AEW and MLW and Impact and NJPW and loads of others. But WWE is not something I watch regularly, constantly. Consequently, should I say, the constant consequence is that I'm not really fantastically invested in the run-up to these matches. So looking at Kofi Kingston, I thought, oh, that's a nice do. Very nice, lovely blonde mohawk. Although, as Jericho says, who rocks a blonde mohawk in 2021? Kofi does. And Sean Spears, but the less about that, the better. And so it's him, and of course, Xavier, versus AJ Styles and Almos, who apparently, looking on good old Google, is 7'3" tall. Now, they don't tell us that. He is a massive dude. They don't tell us that because, of course, Andre the Giant was 7'3", wasn't he? No, but if you say he's 7'3", that denigrates Andre the Giant. So, expect them to say he's 6'10" or something. Anyway, this was great psychology, because AJ Styles knows what he's doing in the ring. He can do it, and he can also sell it. And the whole idea for quite a lot of this match, and the better part of this match, was AJ Styles getting beaten up, trying desperately to get to Almos on the corner, who is staring a hole into both of the New Day. Really well done. Really nicely well done. And a lovely moment where Xavier Woods screamed into the camera, "We're cutting the ring in half." Yes, they certainly were. Eventually, of course, there's a lovely moment actually when AJ comes out to try and run around the ring and they cut him off before he can get back in and just tag. That's very, very nicely done. This is really good work. Then Almos gets in and things take a tumble. Because what else can Almos do but brutalise everybody? AJ comes off his shoulders at one point with a nice uppercut. That's very nice. I'll do it again. A nice uppercut. That's very nice. Look at them pecs. Look at that. Look at them buys. And that was nice. But generally, it's him beating people up. And really, in the end, he pins for the win. And they win the tag team championships. And that's fine. But the audience were a bit, well, I've just seen him beat people up and that's it, really. Yes, that is it, really. First bit of the match, great. Second bit of the match, meh. Okay, another meh. Braun Strowman, allergic to coffee, you know, needs his B12 shots. Remember that. Don't offer him that decaf. It's not like coffee at all. Allegedly, apparently. He's fighting Shane McMahon because Shane needs his WrestleMania moment regularly. So, in a cage, well, if you're going to do this in a cage, you need something extraordinary because cage equals cell equals cage. So we've seen Mankind come off the top. We've seen Shane do extraordinary things with a cage before. This just didn't match up. Early on, Strawman's leg was hurt by Jackson Riker and Elias because they got a bit of cash from coming in at on the pay-per-view at WrestleMania as well. Nice. And then there was basically Shane trying to buzz round him like a little pest, smacking him in the leg and all of that. You know, that's all right. Yeah, very good. And really, that's it. Until Strawman gets a bit of offense in. McMahon hit a good DDT on Strawman. That was good. He planted him with it. That was very nice. He tries to get out. Of course, there are bags hanging from the cage. He takes out a toolbox. He doesn't half smack him in the bonce with it. That really resounded. It was very nicely done. And And then they're at the top of the cage, and Strawman sort of throws him further on to the top of the cage. No, Braun, the idea is that you don't do that. The idea is that you get out the cage. So you leave him on the mat, and you get... Have you got... No? What's the matter? Not enough coffee? Anyway, in the end, what we get is fighting on the cage, and then they're standing on the edge of the cage. Shane doesn't look happy up there at all. He really doesn't. Much happier when Braun grabs hold of him and starts shouting in his face, "I want some more coffee!" or something of that nature. "Don't call me stupid!" Yeah. "Don't jump me out and make me look like a fool!" Too late, you're getting money for it. We've already done it for weeks. He throws McMahon in. That's the big move, really. It's there's a power slam and a pin. The crowd are silent, as if something terrible just happened. And it did. And up next, well, Jerry Lawler, with a face extremely so tight that it looks like he can only eat through a straw. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looked extraordinary. And he said, "I'm so happy," and I think he had a rictus grin. Anyway, nice to see him and hear him. That's good. And this is the celebrity match. So, of course, it's Miz and Morrison, who consider themselves to be celebrities. Morrison, what a great curly do. Business at the front, party at the back. Very nice. And Miz, you know, he's a reality TV star. Who isn't? We all are. So, even if we don't want to be, like me. So, they've got a load of bunnies in the ring at the beginning, which is quite sweet, actually, people dressed up as bunnies. And they're rapping. And what they're doing is they've already laid down the track and they're rapping on top of that track. So because they're rapping on a track they've already made, we can't hear, I can't hear what you're saying. Can't hear you. And they're rapping, of course, because here's your celebrity match. Oh, yes. Actually, I was wrong. Lawler was on the match before. Booker is here for this one, because, of course, he's got a link to Bad Bunny, hasn't he? Damian Priest being given the rub. Not keen on Priest, you see, but actually he looked good here tonight. Wasn't keen on him. I was keen on him when he was Punishment Martinez in ROH. Love that name. When he became Damian Priest, the Archer of Infamy, I just thought it was just boring. The arsehole of Infamy, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't go for me, but he did look good here today. And I thought this could be an absolute car crash because, you know, you've got lots and lots of different celebrities who think they can wrestle, hit a clothesline, that'll be it. I think, well, there's no point in them being there, really. Bad Bunny, who I'm not keen on, but is really pushing the metrics and selling those shirts, was a revelation because he's young and he can do it. And at Royal Rumble, he did it, hurt himself when he jumped off the top, and I denigrated that and had a bit of a laugh, to be honest. Here tonight, this is the second best match of the night. The second best match of the night after the Cesaro and Seth Rollins match. Here are some of the highlights. So if you see my eyes moving over, you'll see that I'm looking at my notes because I can't quite remember. I'm old now. Okay, so the bunny appears on an articulated lorry, which is always, if you're going to turn up, that's quite nice. You could hop on a train like a hobo used to, come that way if you want. But all right, must have been cold though. Must have been cold coming all the way on that. Anyway, you've got Bunny with Miz, making him looking foolish, slapping him and punching him. And I thought that was all we were going to get, really. But no, there's a lovely tornado DDT. Beautiful. Of course, Miz finally gets the upper hand. But then when he gets a tag in to Priest, they hit double Falcon arrows. And it was as good as it sounded. That was beautiful work. Just really well done. And just to cap it off, on the outside, Bunny hit a really nice Canadian destroyer on Morrison. Bunny got the pin, and quite rightly so. Crowd were into it. They love seeing these two tools get beaten. And Bunny was bloody marvellous. Well done. Still don't like your rapping though. Now, to the main event. Sasha Banks, who is okay. Quite like her as a heel. She's all right. Oh, her ex-partner Bailey, by the way, was buzzing around all through this with the NWO. Nash looking great. Hall not looking great. Waltman, guys, put some timber on. And Hogan, of course, all in the shirts. It's nonsense, really. It's basically them saying, remember when wrestling used to be good? Yeah, well, here's another match for you that's not as good. Okay, so Bianca Belair is her opponent for the women's title. Bianca Belair is the future of this federation in the women's division, or indeed any division. Because she can do it behind the stick, she's incredibly tough, she's incredibly strong, she has a fantastic look. What more could you want? And she is over. Well, this was just great. Banks was okay, and she's always okay. There were some good moves there, but really it was Belair's night. Right at the beginning, Belair was crying. She was tearing up because of this situation, and being here is marvellous to see. It was cagey to begin with, but when they tumbled out, Belair just picked up, and you know she can do this, picked up Banks and slowly walked into the ring and threw her into that ring. It's beautiful. She's military pressing her. It's beautiful. And then later on, vertical suplex. I'll touch you against one side of the ropes. I'll touch you against another. I'll touch you against another. I'll hold you even further, even for longer. Then I'll hit that move. Oh, it's beautiful. And I have to say, I was really pleased to see Banks use the braid. She used the braid to pull the arm into a crank and then hit the bank statement, which Belair really sold well and finally had to get to the ropes. She rolled through to get to the ropes. It was beautifully done, actually. The hair... Oh, Belair then hit a 450. A really nice 450 for a long two. And afterwards, she was crying. She was frustrated and crying. That was lovely work from Belair. She can really do the facials well. Really sells it. Good psychology. And then Banks ran at her and she took the braid and whipped her with it. Now, I thought someone's got to have slapped her leg there because it didn't half. I know we're not supposed to, but I thought, oh, that sounded like a whip crack. And afterwards, Banks had a massive welt on her back. That is something very special. That hair is so strong. KOD. Commentators say Banks kicked out, but the bell clearly rang. It's Belair's. Confusion reigns for seconds, but it is actually Belair's. Thank goodness they gave that to her. Finally. Now we can move her on and she can be the face of the company. Because I think that really works. She's young and she's got it all going on. Brilliant. But was this night brilliant? No. No, it wasn't. It was pretty good. Start off with beefy men. You go on to a situation with a tag team turmoil match, which nobody's interested in, even though it's quite good. You don't really get started until 1 hour 45 minutes in with Cesaro and Seth Rollins. Bad Bunny shows that he's the best thing there, probably, as far as movesets. when a celebrity is bringing out the best movesets of the night, you're in trouble. The AJ thing worked because it was AJ. When Almost came in, it fell to pieces, and the main event was okay. It was okay. Oh, and the cage match, that was crap. So it's a 3 out of 5, this. And WWE are throwing a lot of mud at the wall and hoping it sticks and hoping that now we're coming out of lockdowns, that this is going to be so much better for them. But it won't be better unless you give us some long-term booking and some better characters and angles. AEW is in your mirrors, and they are not the little federation that could anymore. They're now very, very big and coming up fast. Let's see what you do on night 2, but it's going to have to be game-changing. Ta-ta.